My old phone rang at midnight. On the cracked screen, my name appeared in a handwriting I hadn't written, and a calm voice said, "We've been waiting for you inside the walls." My breath stopped. I was the only one in the house. I'm the kind of person who always goes back to places you're supposed to forget. The wind drove me to my grandfather's house out in the suburbs, the house I inherited along with a handful of memories and secrets. On the first night, after the trip wore me out, I sat on the wooden floor by the fireplace. I put my phone on record because I wanted to catch the house sounds, the creak of doors, the floorboards, something small I could explain. The recording started with my shaky voice listing things I needed to keep. Then the recorder cut out cold, like someone with a freezing hand pressed the stop button. When the recording resumed, it wasn't my voice. It was a distant whisper that said my old street name and then a short laugh, like the house knew me before I knew it. I grabbed the device, and when I replayed the clip, the words repeated, "Come." I wasn't alone in the house. End scene. Move to the next. In the morning, I told myself it was a dream, but scratches appeared on the door of a little upstairs room, like something was trying to get out, or get in. I tried to explain it. A rat. Kids from a long ago party. Wind. But at night, while I tried to read and sleep, I heard soft knocking from the wall next to my bed. The knocks were steady, like a heartbeat. I held my breath. The knocks turned into a single, steady tone, then into a hum. "Don't go." I couldn't help myself. I pulled up the small wooden panel where the sounds came from. Inside was an old, dusty box. It looked ordinary, but there was a faint warmth coming off it, like something inside was still breathing. I opened the box. Inside was a small mirror and a note written in an old hand. "Don't reflect what you don't want to see." When I raised the mirror, I saw my shadow on the opposite surface, but it didn't move with me. It watched me as if it had been waiting for me to say its name. End scene. Move to the next. That night, my old phone, the one that usually doesn't work, rang on my desk. The screen was dark, but the ring didn't stop until I picked it up. On the other end, the same whisper. "I've been here since you left." "We're keeping the place?" I asked, "Who?" And I didn't expect to hear my full name answered back. Then the voice added, cool and flat, "I know your daughter's name." My blood froze. I don't have a daughter. Still, the phone kept whispering, naming memories I'd never had and places I'd never been. It described a room that had been inside this house before it was built. A child's room that kept its laughter trapped in the walls. I couldn't sleep. I dreamed of a small child standing in the corner of the room, watching me with empty eyes. Every time I closed my eyes, the child stepped one pace further into the room. End scene. Move to the next. The more I strained to listen to the walls, the clearer the words became. They weren't whispers anymore, but short sentences. "Come closer. Don't leave the door open. Leave the window." I began to see the words on the old paint, letters forming under the weak light like the house was writing to me. One morning, I went out for bread. When I came back, the key ring I'd left on the table was sitting in the oven. On top of it was a small scrap of paper that read, "We tried leaving once, but they closed the door behind us." Air in the house grew heavy, like someone took a breath before I could. End scene. Move to the next. The little mirror kept following me. One evening, when I looked into it, I saw another face behind me. Not a simple reflection, but a presence a breath away. I turned fast. Nothing was there but shadow. When I looked back into the mirror, the face had moved closer. its eyes held a patient kind of waiting. There was a promise in those eyes, a promise to claim something I didn't yet understand. The mirror whispered, "We promise to protect our place." Now it's your turn to keep that promise. I didn't know what that meant. What did the house want me to do? End scene. Move to the next. The next night, I heard loud bangs on the front door. I opened it carefully. Nobody. Then the banging came from inside, from the basement. I turned on the flashlight and took a knife and found the basement door half open, though I hadn't touched it all day. Footsteps echoed down there, something sliding step to step, leaving grayish prints. I went down slow, every step making my heart thunder louder. In the basement, I found an old family portrait, but it didn't include me. It was filled with faces my neighbors said hadn't lived here in decades. Under the picture was a pit in the ground, like something had been strangled there one morning long ago. I stuck my hand into the pit and pulled out small keys. Strange keys with no place in this world. They were so cold they felt like needles in my bones. End scene. Move to the next. The house no longer asked me to leave. It asked me to stay and finish something it had started before. The sound shrank into a single clear line. Hold the watch. I understood finally. The house needed a keeper, someone to guard it from the outside, from the shadows of town trying to assert themselves. At midnight, I sat with the mirror facing me, and the last whisper came clean. If you accept, you'll watch our walls. If you refuse, we'll go out and walk with them into town. I put the keys in my hand. There was no good choice. I took the first key and pressed it into an imaginary lock on my chest and felt something old exhale through the walls, like the house relaxed for the first time in years. When I lifted my head, I saw my face in the mirror, older, steadier, a cold smile that meant the watch had started. End scene. Move to the next. Now I am the wall. I am the voice that comes through the cracks between boards. Every night I speak to passers-by in the rustle of wind and sometimes through my old phone. I tell them one name and then I smile. We've been waiting for you inside the walls. If you choose to listen, the house is gentle at first, but it asks small payments of guardianship, half a breath, a small memory, a vow not to leave. I collect whispers and keep the keys because the keepers before me vanish like things no one ever remembers. In the morning, everything may seem normal, but inside, the mirror is silent. The box stays warm and your name is nailed behind a painting on an old peg. Beware if your phone rings at midnight. Don't light the screen. Don't write your name on the lock. Just listen to the whisper. If it says, "We've been waiting for you inside the walls," know this. The house isn't asking, it's keeping you. Narration tone, calm, then drop into a low whisper at the end. End of story.